I'm trying to find. I forgot to bring it up before we started, but we're gonna move on to this fucking NFT topic.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm not killing. So if anybody doesn't, realize, there's a lot of companies that are throwing their card in the NFT game. I'm trying to find the quote specifically from the Square Enix one. We'll get to that. I can't seem to find it. So I might have to paraphrase him a little bit. Oh, here it is. So, So obviously, like, if anybody hasn't kept up, and I'm going to skip, just so you know, the PSN top downloads for 2021. In case anybody didn't know, it's like Madden and all the sports games. It always is.
yeah.
Now that I, like, think about it midstream, I'm like, what's the point of even mentioning it?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. And they wonder why they re-release the same fucking game every year, because everybody buys Madden. But anyways, yeah. So, a lot of companies have thrown their hat in the NFT, or their card in the NFT hat there, and as obnoxious as it is, it's it doesn't make me hate companies necessarily. Like, there's a lot of people and companies and stuff who don't necessarily know what NFTs are. A lot of people will start it and then take it back. I think you mentioned the Troy Baker thing earlier. That was yesterday, that he was like, "Oh, I have my own NFT," and then he kind of did a 180 on that. I don't know if you saw that today, but because he got a lot of shit. And
I do think that's kind of funny how, like, that's something I see very often recently with the NFTs is like with like wrestling, like we saw not too long ago, like they had the NFT thing for like $300 and they sold very little, so immediately they're like, all right, we're not doing that again. And then every time that you hear like Discord was thinking about doing it, and then people gave them so much backlash, like, okay, we hear you guys' opinions, we were gonna step back from it, and now Troy Baker's doing it, and he's like, okay, I mean, I see that you guys are screaming at me as well.
yeah,
It's just hilarious. Everybody who like mentions it, everyone's just like fucking dogpile on this asshole.
Well, and there's a couple of people who there's a couple of voice actors and actresses in the last week, interestingly enough, who did it. He was just the biggest one, because I remember seeing about 4 days ago, I can't remember which female voice actress it was, but it was one of, she's in the anime kind of crowd and stuff like that, and she was, going to do NFT. She did not take it back, I don't think, but a lot of people were like, well, I'm disappointed in this character, right? Like, they would name a voice that she did or whatever. But, we're seeing that, and then on top of, we'll get to Square Enix in a moment, because that's the kind of the big one that came out recently, right? Once again, a little bit of old news now. Troy Baker was the big one yesterday, and then you had Konami. I don't know if you saw that. Of course, Konami.
With Castlevania,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah. Castlevania NFT. They said fuck pachinko machines. Moving on to NFTs. So yeah, they're doing like Castlevania NFTs.
That pissed me off whenever I saw that. It's like,
it's
do they really
from
like
them, because they don't even make a, we know the current state of their company. They're not in everybody's good graces still.
Yeah, they're literally for people outside of it, they're just like, whatever. But for people who know and love the game series that this company has made, every single time they talk about something like this, and they're just digging the fucking hole deeper for themselves.
Yep. The first video game company, and this did not go under the radar, but it still wasn't as big as Square Enix. See, the mistake Square Enix made was having their president, I think it was their president, right, give a quote, and he's like, yeah, these are so fucking great. He didn't say that.
Yeah.
But Ubisoft, if you remember, a couple weeks before, like it was like the beginning of December. I'm looking at it on like Google like right now. They not only did they start like some kind of NFT thing that they're apparently gonna incorporate into their games, which is like, stop, please don't. Not only that, they doubled down on it. So they were like, oh yeah, we're totally still going through with this. Although I don't think it's going well, and I fucking hope it doesn't, because these things are so stupid, and
NFTs are just they're not good for anybody except the people selling them.
Not good for an environment, not good for your wallet, and they're really only good for the wallet of the person you bought it from.
Yeah.
So, God, these things are so fucking dumb. So there was that, and then once again, one last thing before I get to the Square Enix quote, which I really hated. Sega. So they actually trademarked, I believe, like some kind of NFT thing. I'm looking for it right now. And this is one I thought of last minute, so I don't have it on me. But they said that if gamers seem to think that it's a money-making scheme, they're just going to avoid it altogether. Please do. Please do. Please
Oh
do.
yeah,
Sega.
no, seriously, like
Please avoid it. Like,
that's been the tried and true method of like letting companies know your opinion is if you don't like something, speak with your wallet. Like don't buy their shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, I'm gonna paraphrase this quote, and I'll put it on screen for you guys. It's this quote right here.
I think I just fucking read it, and it pisses me off even reading it.
Yeah, but the quote from Sega specifically, they say we're trying out experiments, we're looking into it, blah blah blah. But if it's perceived as a money making scheme, we're not gonna do it. Yes. Please, okay, I give you a couple of claps. I'm not going to give you the full claps until you just go ahead and decide not to do it. But I don't blame companies for researching it. I don't blame companies for researching it. And if a company decides to do it, it's not the end of the world to me. I'm not like, it depends on the company. It depends on this, that, or the other. But that'll bring me to the Square Enix one. So, all right. This, this came. I just want to get this right. This was the president, right? I have to
Yes.
I cannot believe
the president said this.
I cannot believe that. So it was their New Year's message, right? And the president is basically just like, he's talking about the metaverse and whatever the fuck. I don't even know. But he goes into, and let me find his exact quote because I just had it and I lost it. But he's basically talking about like NFTs, and he's just like, oh, it's something Square Enix is like more than likely definitely gonna do. Why did I lose the quote?
Here's one of his quotes that upset me reading it. I don't know if that's the one you're looking for, but that's what upset me when I was reading it.
Did you send it to me?
Yes, I did.
Yes, no, this is I'll put this on screen. This is the quote that is absolutely infuriating. So basically, like the CEO or the president of Square Enix was all like, "Oh, I'm gonna, we're probably gonna do this NFT thing." Blah blah blah. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And even though we realize it's kind of a niche, this, that, or the other, and then this was the part of the quote that drove me nuts. He says, I realize that some people who play to have fun, oh, you mean gamers? Jesus. And who currently form the majority of players. So what he's saying is most people are gamers who just want to play to have fun, have voted their reservations towards these new trends, and understandably so. However, I believe that there will be a certain number of people whose motivation is to play to contribute. So basically, play to give us money, by which I mean to help make the game more exciting. So basically what he is saying is we know that like 90% of you think these NFT things are fucking stupid and they're bad for the environment and they don't actually lead to anything, and it's just a fucking like a digitally made economic marketplace that doesn't actually hold any kind of real value and basically is just a money-making scheme that gives us money, you play to contributors. How fucking great of a name is that, huh? Play to contribute. But we don't fucking care, so we're going to go ahead and do it anyways. Wow, God. I would invest, if I had money and they were publicly traded, which they are not, just on that quote alone, I would go ahead and invest another $10,000 into Atlas just to make sure that they make, I already, in my opinion, they are making better games than Square Enix nowadays. But that's just me.
Business-wise, Square Enix is making a lot of questionable.
Well, and let me tell you something, though. Like, in terms of... It doesn't surprise me. A lot of people were surprised with Square Enix by this, and I'm like, I as somebody who follows JRPGs a lot and very closely, I was not super surprised by this, considering, like, when you look at, even just, like, you could look at the games that Square Enix makes recently. Now, I like Final Fantasy VII Remake, but make no mistake, a big appeal and part of the fun of that game is seeing those characters, Cloud and all of them, your old friends, the story, in like a 3D modern beautiful looking game, a lot of it didn't really come down to the gameplay. Not that the gameplay is like overly bad, but there's a lot of things in there that, like I've said it before, it's just a cutscene, you kind of just walk and stuff like that. I like that game a lot, but when you look at like who is actually making like video games for fun and who is making, yes, it's a video game, but a lot of it comes down to just like cutscenes and like how does it look, graphics and stuff. Well, Atlas is making like good, quote unquote, like actual like the art of video game. I think they're doing that art better in the last, honestly, maybe even 20 years than Square Enix. Not that I don't like Square Enix. Not that I don't think they're making good video games. It's just that a lot of the stuff that they're doing, I wouldn't necessarily qualify as it like a Miyamoto. He really thinks about like the components that make good gameplay and this, that, and, you know, all that stuff. And like when it comes to these Square Enix games, a lot of them are based on like things like the visuals and technology and stuff like that. And I'm like, I like that stuff, but it's not the important thing. So they definitely have had a focus in recent years on things that I would not consider the most important thing to making a good video game. Once again, they've been successful. I like their games. I'm not trying to say I'm not a Square Enix fan at all. I love Square Enix. But that being said, when they were like, we're doing NFTs, I was like, I am so not surprised, because it is one of those things where it's like it is not important to making your game good. It's only important to impressing a certain amount of people, just like you impress a certain amount of people when the gameplay could have been totally shit. It wasn't, but the gameplay could have been total shit and people would have been impressed by Final Fantasy VII Remake because of the graphics, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Seriously.
Like, because nobody would have like, let me put you this way: if Final Fantasy VII Remake didn't have crazy updated graphics and it was still a turn-based and it was just a remake of the original game with hopefully not a shot-for-shot remake like Pokemon kind of does, but you know, I don't think anybody would have complained. Like, they would have thought it was the greatest thing ever, right? See, that's a good example of like, well, they could have put more emphasis on stuff like that, things that, you know, people liked about the original game's gameplay as opposed to just the story or whatever. All I'm trying to say is, to summarize it, it lines
I am
up
not surprised
with their company policy. I'm not surprised. Like, it does kind of line up, coming from somebody who follows JRPGs and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I could see Square Enix doing NFTs. Atlas, I could see them being interested in researching it. I cannot see them going through with that. I just can't. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will. I hope they don't. You know? I mean, Sega owns Atlas, but, you know.
You really don't want any fucking company to do it. You really hope.
I just realized it's super dark on my camera, so I've been doing like a dark, like a guy in the shadows complaining about NFTs. And
you're like the fucking guy who issues his statement right before he like collapses the fucking government.
I just, yeah. Anyways, did you have anything else you wanted to put on the NFTs? We got like 13 minutes to talk about this Yu-Gi-Oh thing, but
let's see.
Which is plenty of time. Plenty of time.
They're stupid. I don't like them.
They're dumb. I don't like them.
I think that like the biggest fucking perpetrator of NFTs, and as a result, like people kind of jumping on the bandwagon, is all those fucking monkeys that have kind of fallen out of the barrel.
Oh my god! I laugh. It kills me every time I'm like on Twitter and the first comment is like hundreds of thousands of likes. That's like, fuck NFTs. And then there's like the one comment of a guy responding, and he has like the monkey, like he bought one. He's like, what do you know about it?
Yeah, no,
like it kills me. It's so
those
funny.
Fucking things, man.
It's so funny.
I don't know how the fuck people manage to like make those so damn popular. They're the biggest like force behind why so many people are looking into fucking NFTs now.
Yeah, the Bored Ape thing or whatever. And then they have that awful looking TV show to go along, whatever that is. Like,
yeah, like that shit's fucking awful.
It always cracks me up though. Like every time I see that, I'm just like, oh, there's one of the bros like underneath.
Yeah.
They think they're playing with the big boys on Wall Street. That's what it is. It gives them a sense of importance. But yeah. Anyway.